Hi, I'm James.
And I'm Laurent, and we are in Greece. We just finished a sailing trip that was amazing. We have great footage and we're gonna have good videos, but it's gonna take a little bit of editing. So meanwhile, we're gonna do this Q&A video.
So normally our videos are about our trips around the world, but now that we have 1,000 subscribers, we thought you might want to know a little bit more about us.
So the first question is, where do we live and why?
We live in Chicago because it's a fantastic city.
Yeah, and I grew up in Europe, and there are specific things that I'm looking for in a city. I want to live in a large city, and I want to live in a city that has good public transportation, where you can live without a car. I mean, we do have a car, but that's actually not that many cities in the US where you can live without a car. Chicago is very central, and I just ended up there, and I met him, and then we stayed. So second question, where did we grow up?
So I was born in Cincinnati, but grew up in Lansing, Michigan.
And then you lived a little bit in Florida as well.
Lived in Florida for a brief time, then moved back to Michigan. I lived in New York for a while, I lived in Grand Rapids, and then I moved to Chicago.
And I grew up in a very small town in northern France. When I tell people I grew up in northern France, their first thing is, oh, in Normandy. I'm like, no, Normandy is like west of Paris. When French people refer to northern France, they mean north of Paris. A small town of 500. And then we moved to a bigger town of 60,000, and then we moved to Paris when I was in high school. So where did we go to college or university?
So I went to Michigan State, and I am a true Spartan.
And well, I did my undergrad in France, but then I went to the University of Michigan for business school. So if you guys are from the US, you probably know about the rivalry between Michigan and Michigan State. If you're not from the US, you cannot fathom what it's like to be in a civil war between the two big schools in Michigan. And yes, Michigan is the better of the two schools. So who's the oldest?
It's a trick question.
You're the oldest.
Not by much, though.
You're the oldest. We actually have this running joke that when we met, I was in my 20s and he was in his 30s, even though we were born the same year.
Yeah.
It just so happened that we met when he had just turned 30 and I was still 29, about to turn 30.
He was a baby.
I was a baby. So when did we meet?
We actually met the week of September 11th, 2001.
Yeah, the week just before September 11th. So how did we meet?
So we met online.
That was pre-cell phone.
Pre-cell
It was
phone.
a long time ago, but online
Pre-dating
dating
apps.
already existed.
Well, yes and no. It wasn't like a dating app. There was no swipe left, swipe right. But yeah, so we met online and we emailed each other for a couple of weeks. I kept putting off meeting you until
I know.
after Labor Day because I had just bought an apartment like a couple weeks earlier, and I was in the process of painting it and decorating and all that, and waiting to see.
He had other priorities than
Right.
spending time with me. But I mean, we eventually found each other, and it was 17 years ago.
Yep.
So who's the tallest?
Oh, that's easy. You.
Yeah, so I'm 6'2", which is 1.87 m,
I'm 5'11".
which is probably 180 or something like that. So who's the best cook?
It depends on what you're cooking.
Yeah, it's a hard question to answer because we actually don't cook very often, and we each have like a couple of dishes that we know how to make really well. I don't think we're exceptional cooks.
We do all right.
Yeah, we do all right.
People come back.
Yeah.
We make big egg frittatas. Like my specialty is a lot of egg dishes, and Laurent makes amazing potatoes
And chili. He is
And
the
chili.
king of chili.
and the chili king. Yeah.
And I make a very good guacamole.
Yes, he does.
So who's the most patient?
Hands down, I am.
No, I am. You know, once I was told by someone in HR in my company that I had the patience of an angel, which is really funny. I mean, I thought to myself, you are in the right job being in HR because nobody has ever told me I had the patience of an angel. That was just laughable. So for those of you who are new to our channel, we have a lovely dog called Maya. And the question is, what breed is Maya?
Well, that's kind of a hard thing to answer. She is a mutt. correct. She's a mix of Pomeranian and American Eskimo, and she's on the smaller side.
Yeah, so American Eskimo is not a husky. It's a white fluffy dog that's much smaller than a husky. People always wonder how can a husky and a Pomeranian mate together. It does exist. It's actually called a pumpsky. And don't ask me how they mate, but she's a mix of an Eskimo and a Pomeranian, and so she is what, 12 pounds?
She's 12 pounds of long legs and very bushy fur, and she looks like a little fox.
And how old is Maya?
Well, that's also an interesting question. Maya is incredibly resilient. This dog is almost 18 years old.
18 years old, so soon she'll be old enough to drink in most countries, although in the US she'll have to wait to be 21 for that.
Yeah.
So people think that you just take the years and multiply by 7. That's not the way it works. I mean, otherwise Maya would be like 130 years old. So there's actually a dog calculator where you enter the breed and the age, and 18 years old, that means she's 88. So she's still a very old dog, but she's still doing good, she's still around.
Yeah.
So what trips do we have planned for the next year?
So we want to go to Vancouver and hang out in Canada, British Columbia.
Then we are going to Scottsdale, Arizona, and he has never been to Grand Canyon. So when we are in Phoenix, we're going to try to go to Grand Canyon. It's such an incredible place. How could we live in the US, have a travel channel, and not have gone to Grand Canyon? Then in terms of bigger trips, we are going to try to go to Morocco. We've been to Morocco already. We went to Marrakesh a few years ago, and this time we're going to try to do a trip in the Moroccan desert. And then we're also going to try to go to France, to the Loire Valley. I've done a couple of castles here and there, but I haven't like really gone to the Loire Valley. And have you ever been there?
No.
Not at all. So looking forward to that one. And what other trips are on your bucket list?
I'd love to go to Mongolia. I'd love to go back to South America, do Peru.
Mongolia is on my bucket list as well. Actually, of all the places I really wanted to go to, I've done all of them except Mongolia. Really wanted to do the pyramids in Egypt, which I've done. I really wanted to go to Easter Island, which I've done. I wanted to go to Namibia, which I've done, and I really want to go back because I really would like him to go to Namibia, such a beautiful country. And Mongolia is the last one that's left on the list. I'm glad you mentioned Peru because I've been there a couple of times and I'd love to go back, and I really would want him to go to Machu Picchu. It's such an incredible site. I really want him to see it.
And I could always go back to New Zealand or Australia or somewhere in Oceania, maybe Tahiti, somewhere like that.
I really want to go to Wimbledon. I've been to the French Open. I took him to the French Open last year. Been to the Australian Open. We haven't done the US Open, but it's actually not that hard to do. But Wimbledon is really the one that's on the bucket list. And every year we say let's try to do it next year, and it just never works out with the dates. But someday we want to go there. So that's it for the questions we had for today.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch our videos and to get to know us a little bit better. We hope you enjoyed the video and would love to hear your comments.
Yes, if you would like us to do more of those kind of personal type of videos, put your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video,
give it a big thumbs up.
And if you'd like to subscribe to our channel, we are going to put a link somewhere here. And if you want to watch our next video, we're going to put a link right here, and then another one right there.
And remember, if you click the little bell, you'll get notifications whenever we put a new video on our channel.
Bye.
Bye.